Okay, this is gonna be a hard one. This is really gonna be a fucking hard one. Okay, welcome to Earth 718. This is episode 2 of our, I guess, weekly podcast now. I'm here with Nico, who is not hitting a bong. He's hitting hookah right now.
Apple flavored.
We'll send you a picture if you need it. Just email us at, I don't fucking know. We don't have an email. But yeah, this is episode 2. Welcome. Today, we are going to talk about what is happening as of late in the Marvel Comics with Secret Empire. Yes. We'll be discussing Captain America and his transition into the almighty Hydra agent and Hail Hydra, mm-hmm. and leader of America that he is.
Yep.
We will discuss anything that falls into that. We'll talk about conditions that develop from a hero, a popular one especially, turning into a villain after such a long time.
Which is always a hot topic to talk about.
Always fun. And we're also going to discuss how that potentially relates to our climate politically in America. Mm-hmm. Being as our president is currently a Hydra agent.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes.
I mean, you can see it in his Cheeto-crusted face.
Yeah. He's probably a Red Skull in disguise. But hey, you know. I don't judge people.
We don't judge.
We don't judge.
Orange people. Orange lives matter. Okay, so to start off this conversation, first off, let's just discuss Captain America as a Nazi Hydra agent.
Okay.
Nico, what is your opinion on that matter and the goings on at Hydra HQ?
Well, I am a villain sympathizer because I think that it is the villains who made the comic book industry so successful because you want to see them over and over and over and over. I mean, that was the reason why the writers of Batman decided to give him his moral clause of like he doesn't kill because the villains are so popular. It's like, okay, that's the thing that's driving the sales. They want to see the Joker, they want to see Two-Face and Bane, whoever. You want to see them again. And I think that's also one of the main things that people want to see the sequels. Like the first movie, you want to see the hero, but the sequels, you know what the hero's about. You want to see the villains. So it's like, all right, we have Batman Begins. Cool, we want to see Christian Bale as Batman. But Dark Knight, Heath Ledger as the Joker, hell yeah, I want to see that. Or Tom Hardy as Bane, or even Captain America. What you want to see Winter Soldier. Whatever, you want to see the villains. Everyone loves a good villain. So when I originally heard that Cap was always a Hydra agent from the very beginning, I was excited because I'm like, okay, cool. It's a different spin on the character. And I'm like, kudos to Marvel. They got balls and they actually changed an American icon. He is an American icon to a Nazi, even though they're not calling him a Nazi, but that's what Hydra is. You know, he's turning him into a Nazi. True. Yeah. So I was like, cool. Storytelling wise, if it makes sense, I'm all for it.
I think that's a good perspective because I mean, I think people would love to see like Chris Evans portray Nazi Hydra Captain America on screen because it would just be like, oh my god, Chris Evans.
I think it would be great. I think they will object. But the dollars will come. The dollars will come in, so that people won't object to it.
The fans, as much as they hate what Nick Spencer is doing, and Nick Spencer continue the fight because I think Secret Empire is really something that people are gonna appreciate in the future. As much as they might not agree with the transition of Captain America into something not Boy Scout like.
Yeah.
I think people are gonna appreciate it. It's gonna kind of be like, oh, Dark Phoenix, wow.
Yeah.
Jean Grey's a badass.
And I think
now.
it also comes to the point where it's like, just to transition over to like DC in the sense of like, we all know Batman has a contingency plan for all Justice League. So it's like, okay, what if he goes full bad guy? He knows exactly how to defeat every single one of them, but he doesn't because, despite what he claims that he's not a good guy, he sort of is. Yeah. So, but now it's like, okay, now Cap, All-American Boy Scout, not as much as Superman, but to a point,
close
close
the Marvel
enough.
version.
Yeah, the Marvel version with a little bit of edge to him. Yeah. But it's like, all right, he knows the rest of the Avengers and the people who are not associated with Avengers, but also Marvel heroes intimately. Yeah. He knows them. In our in realistic time for decades.
Yeah.
In the Marvel Universe, 10, 20 years.
Best buds.
Yeah, exactly. So he knows all of them. He knows the likes, the dislikes, what makes him tick, and he knows the weaknesses. So it's like, okay, fine. I'm like, Marvel, let's see where you go. Exactly. Let's see where you go with this.
It's great writing, and that's the thing. When I was reading Captain America Steve Rogers, way back when, and by way back when I mean about 2 months ago, it was just interesting.
And in the comic book world, that is way back when.
Yeah, that is
a lot can happen in 2 months. That is way back when.
That is true. It's just, I don't know. It was weaved so well. I know initially it was just kind of the whole the whole Cubics thing is was kind of pulled out of nowhere. Sure, Cosmic Cube, leading to the change of history, but it just his development, his training as a Hydra agent, his covert ops, and killing the guy who gives him the secret soldier, super soldier serum. I think that was great. I thought it was great. It was even though he didn't do the killing on his own, as we know. Zemo did that, but I thought that was cool. Like I really supported that. Him just straight up massacring people at occasional times is awesome, because it's like you wouldn't expect Captain America to do that. Even in a sense where we as fans know that they're trying to go really far with this. When you see him, make these orders or push someone out of a building, it's awesome, because it's like, oh shit, Captain America just literally did that. Something you wouldn't expect him to do. And I think that's great. It's nice to see a change of pace where our heroes are becoming villains, or villains are becoming heroes. Yes. Captain Cold, great example of like a villain turned anti-hero who does good sometimes. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great entertainment.
Exactly. I mean, I think it gives character depth overall, because I'm like, we all have our breaking points where we want to do something bad, but we don't do that. But it's like, okay, if you're within that world,
I mean, I feel like within this world, I still do that.
I'm just saying, but I think we all could relate to that to some extent. It's like, okay, every once in a while, we're gonna do something bad. You know what I'm saying? But just to go back to the Cap point, I'm like, you're a wrestling fan. I'm a wrestling fan. So to me, this is very similar to Hulk Hogan's heel turn to the NWO.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Hulk Hogan, all-American hero, all about praying and vitamins and all that
the
stuff.
The ultimate savage. Not to be confused for Randy
Savage. Yeah, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like, no one ever expected Hulk Hogan to go bad guy. But people were upset.
Fuck.
You alright?
I'm good. I just took that. I let it rip like a Beyblade, and I probably should not do that. But yeah, no.
People were upset. I mean, I can't. I mean, if I'm wrong, let me know. But if I remember correctly, in the original WCW footage, people were totally upset. I believe they were throwing stuff into the ring. However, what do you want in a story? You want people to react. And that's exactly what WCW got. That's exactly what Hulk Hogan got. He got people to react. And all of a sudden, in my opinion, that rejuvenated his career.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like the NWO now? Who doesn't love... I can't say who doesn't love Hulk Hogan now. But at the time, with Hollywood Hulk Hogan with the spray paint and the black and white, who didn't love that? Everybody loved that.
Everyone loved it. To interrupt on a big side note, every time I hear NWO, I really do think niggas with optimism. I feel like that's like an alternative rap group to NWA, because it's just where my brain works. It's just when it comes to rap, things just pop out.
Hey, you might have to start that.
But niggas with optimism. That's what we should just call our life podcast when we transition.
Hey, that might be a side project. We have to talk about that in the future.
That's the thing. Nick Spencer, again, people were just like, they sent him death threats like every day, because they're like, how could you?
That means it's working.
It's working.
That's like,
it's
really working.
Good. He's really good at getting a reaction.
Yes, it's work. If you could take the criticism and the death threats, unfortunately, no one should receive death threats. But in an artistic medium, in any artistic medium, if you're receiving that extreme of criticism, what you're doing is working.
Speaking on that note, another side note, I seem to be filled with them today. The creator of Sherlock Holmes, Arthur Conan Doyle. For anyone who knows me, I am apparently a Sherlock Holmes expert. So cite me, and I got you. When Arthur Conan Doyle legitimately hated Sherlock Holmes. Like he loved money.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yep.
He loved money, so he wrote all these stories, and he ended up growing to hate the character. Was bored writing him.
Yep.
So what do you do when you're bored of something?
Kill it off.
You kill it off.
Yep.
So he killed off Sherlock Holmes, and Britain was just like fucking furious. People wore black bands around their arms.
We're talking about like the citizens of the UK.
Yeah, okay. They wore bands around their arms to signify like their mourning for Sherlock Holmes. They wrote letters. They wrote death threats. Way back when there was no Twitter or no fucking Reddit, so it wasn't.
You had to express your opinion the hard way.
Yeah, you wrote it down and mailed that shit in, and your name was on it. So
you had to take time to write it and spend money to mail it,
which meant that you actually felt
gave a shit. Yeah.
So people did that, and it got to a point where Arthur Conan Doyle was like, "People are mad. I could get way more money by doing this," and he brought Sherlock Holmes back, even though it made no sense. He brought him back. Rickenbach Falls, he was just like, yeah, Sherlock Holmes felt, oh well, who gives a shit?
Exactly.
Brought him back,
and so all the fans just completely ignored the continuity errors or whatever. They're like, he's back, we happy, we don't care, we move on.
Yeah, I mean, Watson fucking had an injury in different parts of his body throughout multiple stories because Arthur Conan Doyle refused to remember what fucking details he had in the stories. Yeah.
If a character's popular, just like what is it? Breaking Bad. They wanted to kill off. Spoiler: if you haven't seen Breaking Bad, I mean, at this point, shame on you. But Jesse, they wanted to kill him off. During season one, but because he was so popular, they kept him. And he was a very important character in the series.
Yeah, he probably had the most growth of any character.
Yeah, and he was a good.
Counter to
counter to Walter
talking in magic words right now.
Yeah,
counter target fucking spell.
Yeah, counter target drug lord. Yeah,
but yeah, I think that's great. I think it's great to disrupt the status quo, to disrupt the general plot that comes within any story. I mean, if they want to tomorrow tell us that Bruce Wayne has been like a serial killer he obviously has been a serial killer, sociopath, but
he's a sociopath.
A psychopath too,
I'm waiting for the day that, because I'm like, there's replacements for her. There's people there and popular enough to take over.
Damian Wayne,
Dick, whoever. Even give Red Hood a shot.
Yeah, Dick.
You know what I'm saying? There's people waiting to take his place. So I'm like, I'm just waiting for the day he just like decides like, all right.
Dick is a solution to all of Gotham's
Not
problems.
that he snapped, but logically he justifies like, okay, I have to end the Justice League or whatever because enough's enough.
It's true.
And that comic book, that story is gonna sell well.
Yeah,
it's gonna sell. Whether you love it or hate it, it's gonna sell.
I'm pretty sure the war of jokes and riddles started, and I have no clue what the fuck's going on. If anyone at all knows information on this, please send it to me. I mean, I'm just lazy. Yeah. I just haven't fucking read up on it.
Last time I heard, I could be wrong, but I think it's just a war between Joker and
Riddler,
and Bruce is caught in between.
I think like the Joker, not Joker. Riddler is currently like running Gotham. I think the overall story is that the Riddler ran Gotham for like a year.
Yeah.
And the Joker is trying to, bring him down, and Batman is trying to bring them both down.
Something like that.
It's just like, that's fucking cool. I heard about it a few months ago. I was like, this is the best thing that could happen to Batman right now, because it's like two favorable villains.
Yes. Bruce Wayne, one of the most known villains, or two of the most known villains in the world. Yeah.
And the tagline of like the most, your biggest failure is what was the tagline? Batman's biggest failure. How could that go wrong? Can't go wrong. Holy shit. I forgot to mention early in the podcast. This special episode, of course, following Captain America and his exploits into the world of Nazism, is thanks to for the 4th of July, which is what, 3 days going on 2 by the time we're done.
So we felt that it was appropriate to discuss Captain America.
Very appropriate. And what other way to do this over some patriotic hookah, of which I believe is apple flavored.
Apple flavored.
Thank you to our sponsors of Insert Blank here. And
we'll get to you. We'll say your name once you pay.
We'll pay us and we'll send
we'll say your name. We'll edit your name in.
Also, we have some assorted beers and liquors that we have been drinking for some time. So I dare say that this might be the first podcast of which it's not just you drunk. It's not just me. It's both of us.
Both of us. Both, and it's only us two.
Only us two.
Because our third member, Izaku. He's in LA right now visiting his girlfriend. So
in LA.
I hope they're both having a great time. Shout out to them.
Great time. Maybe we if it comes to a point, we can also phone people in for a podcast.
Yeah, we can. If we would give him a heads up.
Yeah.
But in the future, we will give him a heads up. Maybe he could speak for like 5 minutes.
Start doing some FaceTimes. Get people in here.
Yeah, FaceTimes on a podcast.
Multi-platformed event for all of you.
There you go.
Okay, so to get us started on the Captain America Nazism, Hydra, cut off one head and more dicks appear.
I'm gonna cut you off before that. So now this has always been my issue because I like Red Skull as a villain. I think he's a good villain. I think he's a good tool to move the plot forward.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm not well versed in the
Secret Empire.
Not even Secret in the Red Skull mythos. However, I think that Marvel has always teetered on the delicate line. Like, clearly he's German.
Yeah.
He is a Nazi. However, I feel like, again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and forgive me if I'm wrong, you know.
Don't forgive him. He's a piece of shit.
Thank you. But I feel like, all right, Red Skull, he hasn't been... I think that, in my opinion, like, yes, he is a Nazi, but he's more geared toward...
Personal gain
and science.
Yeah.
He cares more about that more than as opposed to like what we think of Nazis now in the real world, like the eradication of Jews and Aryan Nation, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to Marvel and their ability to teeter on that line so that people get the point that he is from World War II, he is a Nazi. However, he's not, you know what I'm saying, that character...
He's not just walking around killing black people or putting that...
Or killing Jews or whatever, because if a character like that won't last to this day.
Yeah.
But clearly he's popular enough where he's a reoccurring villain and people buy the stories that he's involved in.
And I think that's the important thing about especially his role in Secret Empire and leading to Secret Empire was kind of as a lackey. The Hydra... HQ, the head of Hydra and their committee were pretty much like, Red Skull is kind of becoming a problem. He's clearly doing things for his own gain.
Was this still involved with the whole thing? Like he took Professor X's brain?
Yeah, he did that.
So this is all okay.
It's that's all canon for Secret Empire.
Okay.
The thing is though is that Red Skull was starting to be seen as a problem. He was starting he was very obviously doing things for himself.
Yeah.
So Madam Hydra and all the others.
So it was like
they were just like he needs to go. They pretty much
he became a problem to them, so they had to cut him loose.
Because they started to realize that he wasn't about just the overall success of Hydra. It was more like, I'm in it for me.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, they killed him off. I forgot who they got to
kill.
Yeah,
I want to say that too. Yeah, I want to say that.
Yeah. I don't know who killed Red Skull. I'm pretty sure they got Cap or one of his people to kill him.
I think it was Cap. Yeah.
But yeah, he's gone. I mean, so that's a testament to just him being all about the personal gain.
Yeah.
Like not fuck the Jews and shit.
Yeah.
Please don't use that as like a soundbite of me being an anti-Semite. Like,
and no way we endorse Nazism and all that stuff. You know, we're just talking about
this isn't a pro-Nazi.
We're just talking about fictional storytelling and all this stuff. We're against the Nazis. We're against racism. We're against all that stuff.
Yeah, obviously our first episode. This is technically episode 3, but. Episode 1, we're not releasing. Episode 1
we had technical difficulties with episode 1, so we decided that it was probably better off that we
retcon it. We put it in as a later episode.
That was more of like a test to see if sound equipment and stuff like that. So now we finally figured it out. I was like, okay, so we're more comfortable with where we're delivering now.
So this as episode 2, where our first episode was about just the LGBTQ plus community.
Yes,
and Oddly enough, we talked about Secret Empire. We talked about it a bit either in this one, and if it was in the first episode, I mean, you'll find out soon enough.
I mean, it's probably going to be a reoccurring thing for a lot of episodes.
Yeah,
like, this is so important in the comic book community.
Politically.
Yeah, and politically as well. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, next part of this, I believe if my reading was correct, I haven't read the issues. I've been a little bit of a lazy son of a bitch as of late.
Yeah, it happens to all of us.
But from the understanding that I'm getting is Captain America kind of gave Madam Hydra the order to like eradicate, destroy, fuck up Las Vegas. There was like a big chain of rebellion in Las Vegas, so they were heavily opposed to Las Vegas staying on the map. Cap gave Madam Hydra permission to do whatever the fuck she wanted with it, though he never gave a clear order to do anything. So of course, Madam Hydra acts out on that. Vegas, if I'm correct, is either really done or, minimal reaction from any of the rebels. So what do you think about the fact that Hydra goes from an image of we're gonna give the people what they want and make them like us first? Fucking banging tables here. What do you think of Hydra now officially putting themselves as like a negative force? Because early on in Secret Empire, they were all about, oh yeah, we're gonna help people here, so that they can see that we're like a lesser evil. That there are worse things out there, like the Avengers, the real Avengers. So what do you think about that? The whole turn of like them finally showing some form of true colors.
From a business standpoint, I like it because it's like, again, Hydra, the Nazis, they make great villains. They really do it, and so do the Russians. You know what I'm saying? Those as long as storytelling is great, those will always make great villains. Just whatever, despite the time period or whatever. But I don't know, I feel like it goes toward the movies as well. Because I'm like, because like, what was it? Winter Soldier, Captain America.
Yeah.
It was like, who would have thought that Hydra would have infiltrated DC and Shield and all that stuff. Then all of a sudden,
you bugged me out for a second. You said DC, and I was like, the fuck are you talking
Washington.
about? This inter-company battle of Red Skull fucking running Gotham.
If they ever decide to play nice again, which they have played nice plenty of times in the past. Not saying they never played nice.
You gotta play nice.
Yeah, I'm saying, who knows, a future storyline, all of a sudden, what I'm saying, the Justice League is like, oh, shit.
Fucking Dr. Manhattan and Gotham, and, oh, well, that's... Fuck my life. I clearly drank too much. He could do that.
But Dr. Manhattan could be a guy because of the so that's in the works.
I fucking love the button.
That's in the works.
I'm a biased button lover. I love buttons. I love the button. I love smiley faces. So come at me if you dislike.
But yeah, I mean, like who would have, who would have thought that could ever be possible in the movies? I'm like, and just based on our political climate now. I'm no way am I saying that the people who run DC now are Nazis or anything in that way, but I can say that, like, especially from a liberal standpoint, liberals, whether you Democrat or not, liberal standpoint, a lot of liberals feel like DC has been taken over by people that don't according to them, that don't represent them or America's interest. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, it's like, well, if you put a twist on that, it's kind of, what I'm saying? It's kind of the same thing. Yeah.
It's, I mean, and I guess the real problem about it all is that at the end of the day, people we're voting for, people we support, are, in our eyes or the eyes of other people, they're a lesser evil. I mean, it was the whole argument of Hillary versus Trump. People are like, even though it was kind of bullshit, they're like, do you want to trust a woman who is sending out emails that are just top secret and not good? Or do you want to trust the guy who is like blatantly out in the open a bigot? Yeah. It happens everywhere.
And that's the whole point of the philosophical concept of utilitarianism. Like, how to put this? To put it in small terms, it is the lesser two evils or whatever,
It's all
X
we
X
strive
amount of
for.
evils. But really, it's like, what's gonna do the greater good? Now, with that statement, there is gonna be some bad.
Yeah.
But what's gonna produce the greater good for the most amount of people?
That's the thing about Marvel, though, and Nick Spencer's writing, is that this was a sense of, there was an evil that they weren't aware about. Captain America, they weren't aware that he was going to become a bad guy. They weren't aware of that. So when Agent Carter, what the fuck am I talking about? Maria Hill. When Maria Hill was all about, I think we should institute this big ass shield across the entire planet that will protect us from all of these bad threats like the Chitauri.
Is that still? Because she took over after Civil War.
She took over.
So that this is still like in connection with that. So this is all canon. This is all like one.
It's all canon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the trial of Maria Hill, they pretty much get Captain America to testify, not knowing that he's a Hydra agent, and he's pretty much like, based on all the things that happened, you should not be the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. And she was just like, I understand you. I get it. I did some bad shit. But guess what? I got something for you. We're going to build a shield that no matter what you throw at it from the outside, it's going to fuel the shield around the world and make it stronger. So the U.S. government's like, this is a great fucking idea. They go to the back rooms. They talk about this. They come back into the courtroom and they're like, we're going to take this idea. We're going to approve it because this is what the world needs. But we're also going to take your position away and we're going to give it to someone else. We're going to take people's recommendations and put it in. So Captain America sees that opportunity and he recommends Susan Shannon, Where's All White? I don't remember her name.
Agent 13?
I believe so.
Okay.
If you might be right, I might be too drunk to even know, but he recommends her, and she's just like, nah, I recommend you, Captain America. You're Captain America.
He played her.
You're the.
He knew exactly what she was gonna say.
He knew what she was thinking. Yep. So, of course, she recommends Captain America. Steve takes the job, and the moment he takes the job, Hydra agents infiltrate
So he really didn't take the job when he was still like old man Steve.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm Captain America. I believe in this mission. We're gonna give it to you. She turns it down. They give it to him, and then as Hydra agents infiltrate the what's the shield ship called? The
helicarrier.
The helicarrier. As Hydra agents infiltrate it, they're like prepared. He lets them in. Says Hail Hydra. Done deal. And the scary shit is that even in that trial, they decided, not in that trial, but in the trial they mentioned that in a big state of emergency, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. would become in control of all U.S. governments. CIA, everything.
Hey,
literally the military.
You know what?
Everything.
You know what that reminds me of? Is I doubt this is a saying, but I mean throughout history and fictional stories, such a big organization like that, can't be taken down from the outside.
It can't.
It can't. It got to be taken down from the inside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Take Rome. Rome wasn't destroyed from outside forces. It was destroyed from within. And if you want to go the Star Wars route, what happened? They gave emergency powers to Palpatine.
Yeah.
So,
and then
big organizations like that are taken down from the inside.
Which is it's great writing that covers so many angles that it really. The more I think about it, the more I love Secret Empire. I'm a few issues behind. I'm trying to catch up. I feel like I've even shared some information beyond it, but I think it's great because he literally followed the steps, and that was the best part. Is that in between the trial and everything, they would have these flashbacks to Steve Rogers and his training as a Hydra agent. Make sure your cover is good. Make sure that people around you trust you. Make sure that you have no personal ties. That's the crazy shit. Is that even when Steve took over and betrayed whatever the fuck her name, Agent whatever the fuck, or whoever the hell plays her, he was like, I still love you. Like, I love you. And I know you're gonna get there. I know you're gonna reach that point where you understand where I'm coming from, and you'll join my side. But no one else, no one knows. Everyone's just confused. Tony's an alcoholic. talking through an AI all times because he just can't handle it.
Yeah.
Black Widow is sent to assassinate him and shit.
Yeah.
It's something that people aren't prepared for. And guess what? In this country, were people really prepared for someone like Trump to take over? No one was.
No.
I remember the day of the votes coming in, election day. The day we were watching the fucking votes come in, and we kept laughing because we were like, "Wow, he's actually pulling."
I fell asleep in election night when it was tied, and I was like, "Okay, Hillary got this." And I woke up the next day, and I was like, "I didn't even check my phone." Honestly, it was a text. It was a Facebook post from you.
Yeah.
That I knew. I went on Facebook immediately, and you put, and I believe, and I quote, "America, you have one job." Yeah, and you failed or you fucked it up.
You fucked it up.
Yeah, and I was like, no. I was like, no. And I turned on CNN, and I was like, wow, really?
It's crazy, because the comparison of just the emotion and the feels that everyone felt that day, of when we knew that was the next president. And this is, I'm not even talking from a perspective of, like, someone who... clearly my opinions are biased, and I'm against just his beliefs, just because A, my skin is dark, B, I have relatives and friends that are not supported by his beliefs.
And I was willing to give him a shot, but as of right now, I mean, I don't agree with a lot of his policies.
It's not even just like him as like a person, or it's just
his policy.
It's policy. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a Democrat, so even that being said, I wasn't going to vote for him in the first place, unless he was like, a really like a good Democrat or something. But regardless, that didn't matter. It was I had my reasons as to why I voted against him. I didn't look at it from a standpoint of like just 5 things that made me vote that way. It was pros and cons. From that perspective, there are things that like the people out there support him, and that's fine. It's fine for everyone to have an opinion. It's fine to
and it's also different perspectives on the part of the country you live in.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because he appeals. I mean, to like the manufacturing workers, the coal miners. I'm like, we don't know that. We live in the Northeast. We have no idea what that life's about.
We live in New York City. And
exactly.
You know what we strive on here? Writers, artists, and people who fucking love Wall Street.
And white-collar jobs. And that's it. So we have no idea what it is to mine. We have no idea what it is to work in a factory. We don't know what. Maybe our grandfathers, their great-grandfathers, but us in the current generation, we don't know what that life's about.
It's all perspective.
Yeah.
And that's why the perspective of Steve Rogers running the fucking world, from a perspective that no one understood, no one expected, it's very good writing to be able to compare it to that level, to compare it to the current political stance of America, to compare it to the economy of America. I mean, New York's not covered in a fucking bubble of like darkness with Cloak trying to like give light, Dagger trying to give light to people. Yeah, obviously we don't live that life, but it's relatable.
It is.
It's just a matter of people looking for light.
Yes.
In a large area of darkness. It's great.
I mean, if you want to expand that to the world we live in, I'm like, you could say that the light is the Western world, is the United States, and now is like he's closing the borders. However you feel about that, whether you agree or disagree. But I'm like, he's making it harder for people to come in. So it's like, okay, all these people, all these refugees from war-torn places, they want to come here because they feel like they can make a better life and blah, 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 which our ancestors did. And prior to the Hispanics coming into the country, you had the Irish, you had whoever, I'm blanking on my history right now, but whoever, this country was founded on immigrants coming in and building a better life for themselves. So it's like, it's kind of, especially from the outside world, it's kind of scary that like, to say you're no longer welcome here,
Yeah, and the alt-right movement. I have a very biased stance on the alt-right movement. But I was watching a video recently of Richard Spencer. Hey, it's Spencer Day in America. Yeah. Let's talk about Spencer from Capcom. We could talk about him if we need to. But Richard Spencer, the face, the embody the image of the alt-right movement.
Yeah.
I saw a video recently of him talking to Charles Barkley, famous basketball star Charles Barkley.
I heard about that video. I didn't see it.
It's great because it's him. It's some other guy. Sorry, I don't remember your name. I was clearly not under the right influence. To
we'll edit it. We'll edit it.
We'll add you in the tags.
Yeah, we'll edit it right in. Yeah.
But they're coming from the standpoint of, our people have been tormented for years. Or the black community, the African American community, the Hispanics, everyone. It was talking from a diverse standpoint. Have been seen as inferior for how long now? And their whole conversation with him was like equality. Let's all be equal. You guys were running things, forcing people to do things they didn't want to do for so long. All we're asking for is a voice, an opportunity to strive as well as you do.
The same.
And Richard Spencer's standpoint was all, it's not about that. This is America. Our people found this. False. And we, have a clear destination of superiority of just our race, just our people. We want this to be of a European descent, this whole country to be of a European descent, which obviously excludes so many people.
It does.
And he kept saying some things that were just ridiculous. One thing to mention that he specifically said that bugged me out was that he said that and he kind of said this jokingly, but obviously he's just like a big troll. He's another Martin Scorsese, I think, in this world.
I would think a lesser version.
Lesser.
Because I think unlike Martin Scorsese, I think he truly believes what he says. Yeah. Martin Scorsese, you don't know if he's saying to talk shit or whatever. Yeah, he's just trolling. Yeah.
Martin Scorsese, come at me. I will be one of. If you want to have a fucking onstage debate, Martin Scorsese, come at me because I'm younger than you and I can still fucking shut you down.
Once you're done with your legal troubles.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you get a real job, you CEO of Shade. But Richard Spencer said, because Charles Barkley said that you guys pretty much handled slavery, you're the reason slavery kind of happened. I mean, to a bigger extent. I mean, obviously we had the Egyptians, enslaving.
Oh yeah.
Their people.
Yeah. I mean, slavery was a big thing in the old world. Yes.
But Richard Spencer dared to say that they perfected slavery, which is I hear that, I'm thinking of the meme of I know everyone's seen this meme, but I'm thinking of the meme, the gif of the white guy who does that what the fuck look with his eyes, because that's how I felt. I was like, do you really just say that and laugh, kind of smirk about it? Slavery is not a thing to joke about. I mean, if in America we today decided every diverse culture on the planet worked together somehow to just rebel against Caucasians, Aryans, whatever, the terminology is not there, that would be bad. It's the same as feminism, when people say men don't deserve the rights that we do. And I consider myself a feminist, but for you to imply that anyone should have an edge to say that women deserve in my opinion, to put us in cages.
I did my master's on feminism, and to me, all feminism is that women want just equality. The same opportunities as men. That's all it is. Everybody's equal.
It's like when you fill out a resume that says we are equal opportunity employers, you expect that your color, your religion, your sex will have no standing on your job, just your experience.
You judge somebody on their character, on their abilities, and that's it. Everything else don't matter.
Exactly. Yeah. Fact matters. That's not how things are. I mean, racism is still strong. Bigotry is still strong. Ageism, sexism, sizeism, vocalism. It's all there's still
all that
a barrier anywhere we look.
Yeah. And a lot of that you don't have control over.
Exactly.
I'm saying you don't get to decide to be born minority, Hispanic, black. You just are. You don't get to choose what you're born as or where you're born. You're just born.
It's the same as abortion laws. I mean, there's people everywhere who just believe that. I mean, it's not even talking about belief. Let's just look at the laws. I mean, we have countries everywhere. You look at the list of statistics that believe that the only time of which someone should have an abortion is when your health is at danger, or when the health of the baby inside of you is just not going to be overall healthy.
Yeah.
Those are like few examples of like how ridiculous it is. I mean, it's not taking into consideration on whether you're a 14-year-old girl who was raped by some fucking criminal out there who's a piece of shit, and you clearly weren't ready to have a child, and you didn't really support that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your body, it's your decision, it's your trauma.
Yep.
It's a decision that you should have to handle, but people don't believe that. It's countries everywhere, everywhere. America being one of the biggest on having laws against it.
Yep.
We're not talking about the death penalty. The death penalty is something that, I can see reasoning, pros, cons, towards any faction.
There's two sides to every story.
But abortion is one of those things of which people should have more control.
Yep.
And I think that's the important thing about Secret Empire, is that it's Nick Spencer's getting death threats for something that I think is just putting a light to the overall conversation that is what is right and what is wrong, and how it's not just black and white. It's a whole gray area.
Life is not black and white.
It's a whole gray area.
Life is definitely not black and white. You know? Everyone is different shades of gray, in my opinion. Whether you dark gray or light gray, but I believe even the most despicable people in the world, they do have at least one redeeming quality.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you could take like a serial killer or whatever. Maybe he was a good father. You know, maybe he really cared about their child. Maybe he really cared about their girlfriend, their spouse, whatever.
That's the case.
But I'm like, that's one redeeming quality. I mean, they, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, just recently in the Bronx, because we are a Bronx-centered podcast, we talk a lot about, we try to talk about a lot of issues in the Bronx, is the Bronx-Lebanon Hospital.
Yep.
Yesterday, the day before, I don't know if you know this, but my brother's fiance, his fiance has a relative that worked at that hospital. Works at that hospital, and she was there when things went down.
Oh
wow. There was a shooting. For those of you who don't know, there was a shooting at the Bronx Lebanon Hospital, and the perpetrator of the shooting was a doctor. A doctor. I don't know about his record on who he helped in the hospital, whose lives he saved, who he couldn't.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, he was a man who, in his career, helped people.
He went to school, paid a lot of money, and took an oath.
Something pushed him.
Yeah.
Something took him to that next level where clearly he did something that most people do not agree with. He did a shooting at a hospital, place meant to help. No one is just bad. No one is good. Nope. People are great.
You're pushed into that.
You're
pushed. Obviously, there's a few exceptions where it's like, okay, if you're born a sociopath, but I think a perfect example, which we sort of brushed upon earlier, Walter White.
Yeah, that's true.
He was, in the beginning of the series, he wasn't a bad guy. I never considered him a bad guy. Did he do bad things? Yes. I never considered him a bad guy, but because he adopted his role. He did things which his role required, which is to be ruthless, which is to take out the competition.
I spaced out so heavy because this drink in the hookah. Just give me the name of the person you're talking about.
Walter White.
Walter White. You said Walter White, and I
Hey, it's fine.
I legitimately thought you were talking about Taskmaster.
No. Walter White. Walter White. I was saying, in the beginning, he was a high school chemistry teacher, blah, blah, blah. In the beginning, you could tell he didn't have, there you go, he didn't have like a single bad bone in his body. But then he adopted the role. I never considered him a bad person. I really didn't. He just took the responsibilities that the role he took, the role he fulfilled.
He got addicted to the adrenaline that it offered.
To me, he was never a bad person. Yeah. He was never a bad person. He just did bad things to keep his status.
I had this thought recently, actually. I had a friend who went to go procure things that he wasn't supposed to. And, he went to do that. He came back and he told me, I just had this really weird thought. It's, I just went, I'm old, he's older than 21, so, there's no laws that prevent you to buy alcohol or drugs. I mean, in some countries, some states, you obviously can't buy marijuana, but from his perspective, it was literally like, wow, I just did this without, handing an ID, without question. Mm-hmm. It was just given to me. And in the perspective of a lot of drug dealers, it's not about, oh shit, I'm giving drugs to kids. I'm giving alcohol to kids. It's more of like, I'm making money off of this. So to them, their whole business is very gray area because you could be helping someone who needs medical marijuana to just help them feel better because they have like nausea that never goes away unless they do it. Or you could be giving it to like a fucking 15-year-old who just is trying to have fun, which is like, it's a scary gray area, and it's,
I mean, think about all the other businesses that are gray area, like banking, finance. I mean, come on. I mean, those businesses do a lot of good, but clearly with court cases and stuff like that, there is a lot of shadiness that goes along with those businesses as well.
The whole world is such a gray area.
That's what I'm saying. Everything is a gray area. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, and I debated with myself, if you were in that position, right? If you were in that position of power within your job, it'd be hard not to take a little advantage. Yeah, it'd be hard.
It's true. You're making crazy money. You find out your son has leukemia. You find out your son has leukemia, and you even with the level of money that you're making at a Wall Street job at Chase Bank, you're the head of Chase Bank, and you can't afford it. Some people are willing to take that path, and that's the thing. That's why the gray area is. So this became a conversation on the gray area, which I really like because sometimes you're gonna make decisions that are gonna help you because
or not
at
even
the end of
that.
the day, survival.
Let's say like you're a politician, right? Yeah. I'm simplifying this example to the max. Obviously, politics is not this easy. However, let's say you're a politician, right? Now, let's say
I nodded for anyone that didn't see that.
All right. So let's say there's. Obviously, I'm simplifying this. Let's say you get from the public through taxes $5. This is what you get, $5, right? And you're expected to use this $5 to give back to the public, right? Roads, bridges, whatever. Obviously, as I said, I'm simplifying this to the max. Now it's like, okay, it will be understandable because we're all human here. If you take $1 from the pot for yourself and you use the other $4 for the public, right?
Yeah.
No one's gonna notice. No one's gonna notice. You take $1 for yourself, you take the $4 and you like, here's your roads, here's your bridges, blah blah blah. Cool. No one's gonna know I
gave
took
you everything you wanted.
Exactly. No one's gonna know I took $1.
And that's the really scary part about just politics is that a lot of people do that. Think of in the sense of even St. Jude's Children's Hospital is one of the biggest aids for curing cancer, leukemia, really detrimental diseases for children. And even they have been, ridiculed. Yeah. There's been controversy. Yeah. In the sense of that all of the money that you donate, those little mail slips you fill out, and you add a little 50.00. Not all of it goes to those research because on a fucking conspiracy theory level, some of the research for those things is already fully funded. Yeah. And B, not all of the money needs to be used for that. Of course, they're going to use some of it for fixing their facilities, making sure that they have enough beds for people, making sure that their backup power generators are running. Of course, you're gonna fucking use that money for something else. It's like if you give me $20 because I don't have dinner to eat, I'm not gonna use all $20. I'm gonna fucking use 10 of it. I'm gonna save the other 10 for another time that I'm gonna need it for something else. Maybe I can afford to wipe my ass with toilet paper and not smell like a shitty person.
You
saw what I did there, shitty person.
That's what you did there.
But yeah, it's the gray area is just so fucking wild. I just want you to know that Nico, we've been talking about almost over 45 minutes now about just some pretty important things, and I feel like 5 minutes have passed. I feel like we haven't.
I feel the same way.
We had a good solid 20-minute conversation on just politics and just the politics of just money and economy and how that makes things work.
That's the beauty of this podcast.
We can go wherever we want.
Yep.
I'm gonna take a poll from this hookah, but to follow me up on this, the next question I want to ask you is: now that we have Trump as our president, if you don't know it, like already accept it. If clearly you're either in Canada, Zimbabwe, I don't know where the fuck you are if you don't know that Trump's president in America, but he's kind of big news. But how do you feel that the relation of Captain America as a Nazi Hydra agent compares to the overall standing of America with Trump as its leader? Because we are currently living in a time where everything's up in the air. Every day we either get a new tweet or a new law that's either accepted or turned down every step of the way. For example, the immigration bill has been turned down how many times? So many rewrites. The health bill. How do you think that Nick Spencer is properly conveying the Secret Empire with Captain America and in relation to Trump and his presidency?
Well, I mean, I feel like
if that didn't fucking make sense, you could just tell
me. No. I understand where you're going. I feel like I think people, and both instances, Captain America and Trump, people are upset. A lot of people are upset, and I feel like depending on the person, that people might be losing faith in Captain America within the comics, and and in our world in real life, losing faith in Marvel, just like people are losing faith in the executive branch, or in just the executive branch and the House and Senate and all that stuff. But yeah, I think they are related, because we took Cap for granted for years. Yeah. We took him for granted, just like for the past 8 years.
We took Obama for granted.
And I was gonna say, for the past 8 years, like obviously there are a lot of people didn't agree with Obama's policy, and a lot of people didn't like him. But I've never seen, or I've never felt this much animosity or this much tension. Obviously, I'm a small fish. Like I don't. My life doesn't mean anything into the political.
Nico 2024?
No, I can't run.
2025.
I can't run.
Why can't you run?
In 2024, can I run? Yeah, 2024. I could run.
2024. It's like Frank Underwood.
No. Can I run in 2024?
Underwood 2020. Yeah, 2024. Yeah. 2028.
But I'm saying, but I think just me as just an ordinary citizen in a low income area of the Bronx, I've never felt this kind of tension, or I've never felt this kind of animosity between the common people. When I say the common people, I mean the common people in my area and the common people I could relate to. And DC. Every day it's just a bunch of tweets from the president, and it's a bunch of pushback. So much. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the news media, and I know I understand fake news and all that stuff. A lot of people don't agree with that. I get it.
Facts.
Yeah, and I get that. There's always two sides to every story, but I'm like, even when Bush was president, he was kind of unpopular with low income people, Democrats, liberals, but it was never like this.
Because everyone loves Bill Clinton, man. Can't follow that dude up.
I'm just saying, regardless, it was never like this though.
That's true.
It wasn't. So I think for years we took Obama for granted, and not even for granted, because this is the beauty of the American political system. It's 8 years. So it's like, fine. The people who disagree with Obama, they just had to deal with him for 8 years. It might have been 8 long years, but that was it. Now, if they like Trump better, now they got their guy in.
Yeah.
So maybe he'd be a one-term president or a two-term president, but his presidency will end at some point. And then now you elect a new guy,
Mark Cuban,
Dwayne
The Rock Johnson,
Kanye, whoever.
I love because like you and I have discussed politics so much. I think since November, it's kind of overdone, and as Bob's Burgers would say, overdone and dry.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it so much that the thing I love about your opinion is that a week in, we're just like, he's our president now. We just have to accept that. And it's something that, like, America is struggling so much, and I understand why people refuse to, you know, align with him or agree with what he says and get used to it. But we are reaching a point where year one is about to be done by what, January?
January. End of January.
End of January. It's gonna hit a year. That's
yeah.
not that far from now. I mean, it's November. We found out it's already fucking July now.
Yeah.
And guess what? People have protested. People have ranted on Twitter for 143 characters or more.
Yep.
And people still refuse to accept it. And I had a really smart coworker tell me that you may not agree with him, you may not like him. At the end of the day, your opinion is not going to change the fact that he's president. What will change the fact that he's president is what happens on the inside. We have minimal control. We can't enforce the laws. We can't sign an executive order.
And this is why they say, like, call your representative, whatever,
yeah.
because they're the ones.
They are the ones
they're on
that
the
are
inside.
Control.
Yes.
And even people on his board, on his, you know, executive team, are trying to fight him. That's why we get so much pushback on the health bill, not being supportive of people. Obamacare, let's get rid of it. But how? We're gonna make the only source of medicine you can have is llamas. Lick a llama in the ass, and you'll be cured of all your sins.
And I'm just saying,
could be possible,
like,
but
if you could think you could come up with a better, is Obamacare foolproof? No, it's not.
Nothing.
If you could think of something better, I'm all for improvement.
Yeah.
But it was like, if your solution is worse, then no.
Yeah. It's
the lesser of two evils here.
The thing we as a country, I think, need to do is we need to just focus on getting better no matter the circumstance. I mean, even with Trump being president, we still have people posting up videos of cops harassing the youth of any color. But that's the thing. Guess what? There are going to be white cops that will continue to kill black civilians,
of course,
and it may not be intentional, it may be accidental.
I mean, and that's the minority of the cop population.
But that's the thing. We also there are so many stories of black cops, and I'm Dominican, you're Puerto Rican. There are still so many cops that come from Mexican, black, any diverse culture that are still killing their own people accidentally or killing them intentionally.
Yeah.
It's not just a clear-cut line, and it's the whole argument of all lives matter. Is people only get mad at the fact that you say all lives matter because by saying all lives matter, you're diminishing the fact that Black Lives Matter. That was the whole argument with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, was that people were just Black Lives Matter, and then other people would get mad and be like, but like all lives matter because everyone deserves to live.
Yeah.
In that perspective, you are saying that, all lives matter, but the reason we are saying Black Lives Matter is because they do matter. We need to focus on the fact that Black Lives Matter, Mexican lives matter, cop lives matter. All lives matter, but don't diminish the value of one archetype.
Yeah.
Focus on all of it.
Yep.
Make sure that Black Lives Matter.
Yep.
Make sure that Asian lives matter.
Yep.
Make sure that Muslim lives matter. Yep. Make sure that everyone's lives matter, that we're focusing on everyone's attention. That's why we use phrases like Black Lives Matter, is to draw attention to what's not getting attention. And I think Nick Spencer's work with Secret Empire, the rest of the team, the artists, everyone who's working with Secret Empire, you guys are focusing on the archetype of a man who symbolized hope. And you're destroying that hope. What do you do in a situation when the person you would go to solve all your problems is officially not someone you can go to? Look at this example of Trump as president. What happens when the president of America is someone you can't go to solve all of your problems? You go to other people that can. You go to your representatives. You call them. You let them know what your issues are. Because we live in a country where, surprisingly enough, our voices could be heard. Yeah. They're not always heard. But if you try hard enough, if everyone tries hard enough, our voices can be heard. It's the example of, like, Syria going through a shitstorm right now. They're in much of a harder position than we
know what? You know, I think the problem is, I think for such a long time we took the democratic process for granted, and it's like, I'm just saying for years, not saying our generation, but generation before us and blah blah blah.
Many generations.
Many generations took the democratic process for granted, and
you dropped something.
Oh, thanks. And now it's like, and I talked to my dad about this. My dad is a baby boomer, so I talked to my dad about this, and my dad told me, he was like, listen, he was like, this is a clear-cut example of why your generation, meaning us millennials and Gen Z, should take this shit seriously.
Yeah.
He was like, you guys have to vote. He was like, you guys have to take it seriously.
Because guess what? If you're not voting, someone else is.
I mean,
and that someone else probably doesn't.
Don't get me wrong. I found all the thousands of votes for Harambe hilarious, but that's uncalled for. I found it hilarious.
I find it hilarious too that like Mario gets votes every year too. That not that boy. That oh shit, what up, that boy?
Yeah.
Not him. But, who was it? It was fucking These Nuts.
These Nuts. Yes.
That's hilarious. But guess what?
Yes, that is hilarious. But
if it makes you laugh that much, make a survey on Facebook about who are you voting for? Trump.
Yeah. But I'm saying, I think a lot of us know now, like, okay, like, this is serious. So I think now probably the voter turnout, especially for the midterm elections, it's going to be a lot more, especially from our generation. Because, like, okay, like, this shit matters, you know?
I mean, I work with fourth grade classroom right now. I do, like, an after-school program with kids in Upper Manhattan. And I have so many of them walk up to me and say, did you vote for Trump? I tell them clearly, because I don't believe in hiding your political opinion unless you're like a CEO of a company. You shouldn't have to. You can share it because you're just being informative. Yeah. But I have them ask me, did you vote for Trump? And I tell them no, I didn't. I didn't agree with what he said. Yeah. And kids, of all people, are the most fucking blunt tools on the planet.
Of course.
They will give you their opinion matter what, even if they don't understand.
They ain't got no filter.
But the fact of the matter is that kids these days are informed. Because guess what? As fast as you can look up a recipe for fucking filet mignon with some fucking like saffron on top, they can look up what makes Trump an asshole or what makes Obama not that great a president. They can do it. Yep. So their opinions are valid and they're honest. Yep. So guess what? In a few years, when it's their turn to vote, when they're going to college and they really have a chance to speak, they're going to go with what they believe in. Yep. So in my opinion, anyone that you have in Generation Z, anyone that you have that's, gonna grow up someday and vote, share your opinion. So just teach them about the world, teach them about what you can, because by doing so, you're leading the world in a direction that has freedom to speak and choose. Yep. And that's what we live in. We're not in a Hydra government where you can try to, shit on me and I can't do anything because Captain America says that you can't shit on me. Yeah. Do it. Yep. Speak your voice. Yep. Give your opinion. Yep. Do what you can. Yep. It's a great country to live in, even though Captain America doesn't agree with it. It's awesome. Yep. We're at about an hour and 2 minutes. So from this point on, you know what? We're gonna keep going. I think we're doing a great. Doing a great service. I can't quite remember my name. I don't know if I shared it with the public. My name is Bidon. Did I?
Well, you did share it.
Oh, well, guess what?
You did share it. Share it again. That's fine.
My name is Bidon, at least for this. So that the government doesn't, kick me out of America with my green card. Yep. I want to present another question. Okay. This could be a leading question that could potentially lead to the end, but I think we're going to keep talking. What do you think Marvel's going to do with Secret Empire? How do you think they're going to end this? How do you think they're going to take America's Boy Scout and turn him into a shining example of mistakes being made, reflecting on it, and changing the world to come back to you?
I think they're going to chicken out.
You think you're going to chicken out?
I think they're going to chicken out.
You think they're going to chicken out?
Yep. I think that they're going to come up with some reason like, oh, he was brainwashed or blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no.
But history was changed.
I get that. But we talking about comic book logic here. See, me being a wrestling fan, like, whatever happens in the characters, stick with it. Don't go back. Now, if Captain America is a villain now, run with it. That means that now one of your golden boys is now a villain. Fine. Now it's time to take one of your quote-unquote B characters and bring them up. Bring them up now.
They're doing that with Cloak and Dagger. I mean, Cloak and Dagger, again, I consider myself a motherfucking expert on Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger are characters that were pretty much put on the back burner for, I'm going to go ahead and say 20 years. In the 80s, they were strong. Yeah. Just because they focused so much on just drug use, and fighting the war on drugs. But they have big roles in Secret Empire.
And not only that, and I think they're slowly doing this now. Especially, I'm like, who would have thought Guardians of the Galaxy will be made a movie, especially a sequel? Yep. No one.
A team that was like
Ant-Man got his own movie.
Black Panther, we got a nigga on IMAX.
Exactly.
A nigga on IMAX.
Exactly.
We got girls kissing each other for love, not for just, getting the guy's heart.
And I think that this is the way of doing it. So I was like, don't go back. If Captain America is now a villain, keep him.
Now, do you think they're actually going to do that?
No, I don't.
Of course not.
Because it deals with money.
It's the whole Death of Superman thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, we did it for money. But guess what? We're going to bring him back in a few weeks.
Exactly. And I'm like, no. I'm like, sure, will you lose some money in the short term? Of course. But I think in the long term, this is, with Captain America being a villain, and especially going to go long-term villain, I think this is a way for you to start bringing up new heroes to lead the Avengers, to lead the team. But also, now, since you're bringing up all the quote-unquote B-level heroes up one, now there's space. You create more heroes now. And then the new heroes you create could be the B heroes.
And you know what? This is it's great we're talking about this because without information towards you knowing, I knew about where this podcast was going to go. You had no clue. You thought I came in here blind. You thought I was too drunk to figure out how things went. But guess what? Marvel Legacy. Marvel Legacy is the ultimate plan for how they are going to bring all of this together. And guess what? Clearly, I drank a little bit too much during the podcast. What I really meant to say was the exact opposite. This franchise is going to focus on the core superheroes, superheroines. So it's going to focus on, Cap. It's going to focus on Thor. All the big names. It's going to take a step back from the revamp, the reboots, the Miles Moraleses of everything.
Because clearly from the past 50 years, this is what we need more.
It's what we need is for Marvel to take a step away from diversity. Not the first time we heard that in the past year. Hi-yo. But moral of the story is Marvel is taking the direction to focus on core heroes, which is kind of a big deal. In a sense, we do need them to really focus on, Miles Morales. We need them to focus on Ironheart, Riri Williams. We need them to focus on the new generation of heroes because in the example of Magneto, not a lot of people can relate to his origins anymore. Not a lot of people are Holocaust victims anymore. They may come from families that were descendants of that trauma, but we're heading in a direction where every day, every month, every week, every year, people are developing to know less about their ancestors and know more about themselves. So it's really important for us to talk about Marvel Legacy right now, I think, because it fits so heavily into the Secret Empire aspect of what do you do when things change. This is a big change for Marvel. They're starting over the numbers. Once Secret Empire is done in September, I believe the premiere date for Marvel Legacy will be September 17th, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the comments below. Below where? Below my fucking ass on this couch. I don't know.
They'll let you know.
They're
upset. But they'll let you know.
If I said something really, really offensive, please comment below. But yeah, it's important.
I'll give you his Twitter.
I think it's important we talk about it. And how do you feel about this move, this change from, rather than focus on diversity, we're going back to what we started with. I like no more Asian Hope.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like it.
Why? Why? What's your angle?
My angle is because I'm a big proponent of change. Like I am. Because to me...
Fucking Obama supporter over here.
Me change is good if it's for the positive, and you have to continuously change for the better. I don't know. I mean, if I can put this, if what we're saying is true and the way we're thinking is true, they are gonna strictly focus on the core heroes: Hulk, Iron Man, Cap, Thor, the original versions of them.
I mean, they're reverting to the old numbering system.
So,
issue number 1.
So let's say they are doing that. They're gonna refocus on Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, Thor, or was it Donald Blake?
Donald Blake.
Or
Donald Blythe.
Yeah. Or Hulk. Why am I blanking on his name? Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner.
Whatever.
Bruce Bane.
Right? No. Like, we know. To me, I feel like kids are born with this knowledge.
Yeah.
You're born knowing who these heroes are. You know their origins.
Yeah, I feel like I knew who Bruce Wayne was before I even knew how to pronounce
their
it.
origins. Indirectly or directly, you know who these characters are because they're so ingrained in American culture and in global pop culture. You know these characters. So, I'm like, yes, are these characters important? Yes. Are these characters special? Yes. I have nothing but positive things to say about these characters and the impact upon pop culture of the world. However, the world is changing. You need more minority characters,
more
especially
daggers, more cloaks,
especially in the mainstream. You need these characters.
I mean, I think, and that's the thing about Marvel is, I mean, the whole argument that we think that diversity is killing comic book sales. They say it, but Black Panther's coming out, the movie's coming out, and it looks like it's gonna be the best Marvel movie ever fucking released. Cloak and Dagger. I'm a little biased on the Freeform television show, but it's fucking happening.
No.
Who would have thought? If you would have asked me 5 years ago, is a Cloak and Dagger television show happening? What the fuck am I gonna say?
If you'd have told me 5 years ago Ant-Man is getting his own movie, I would have been like, you fucking crazy.
Yeah, no one would fucking expect that. It's absurd to think that Doctor Strange was gonna get his own fucking movie, as big as a character as he is. I would have laughed in your face.
You know what's crazy about that, which I read, I'm not sure if it's true, but I read it, that supposedly Marvel had the plan of doing Doctor Strange first.
As the first
one. But they decided against it because they wanted to start realistically, and then they go into
the popular character.
Yeah, but not even that. They wanted to start grounded in this world, and then they go into the more fantasy.
And now we have Rocky Raccoon hanging with trees.
Yeah, exactly.
Way of the world. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's like
we got a Dominican woman playing a Gamora.
After Infinity War Part 2, aka Avengers 4. Avengers is gonna hold the Avengers is gonna look a whole lot different.
Yeah.
So Avengers 5 is gonna be, I can't even imagine. It's gonna be crazy.
I think Marvel does have some pre-planning. I think they understand that the voice of one person saying that diversity is fucking up the game isn't the voice of everyone.
No.
I mean, Stan Lee specifically is someone who really. He's Jewish, man. Like, they're a minority.
He knows what's up.
He knew what was up. You can't tell me that, like...
No, he knows.
They didn't create Jewish characters. I mean, Kitty Pryde. Jewish is shit, even though they try to hide it nowadays. But
he's just a product of his time. Yeah. I mean, he grew up in New York. He worked in New York, where it's predominantly, white American, blah, blah, blah.
He's catering to the audience.
But, like, now, the New York he grew up in is different than the New York now. So it's like, all right, you have to change. Just to cater to the current audience.
It's true. Before we continue on the conversation of Marvel Legacy, I think this is a good time to say, if you had one sentence to say to Marvel writers, Nick Spencer, anyone else you're thinking of, what would you tell them? And when writing a new project, writing something Marvel Legacy, writing something Marvel Now, Ultimates, whatever, what would you tell them?
Do your homework.
Do your homework.
Do your homework.
Expand on that.
In the sense of, like...
I know I said a sentence, but expand on it.
This is ultimately this is a business. This is the entertainment business. So it's like, you do have to cater to your fan base. And I can't speak to the country or the world, but I know in New York City, like I said before, it's not the same as it was back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. You know, Miles Morales, very popular. And I give credit to the writers. They did a great job. But because, you know, he was a black Spider-Man. You know?
It's like Logic said, Black Spider-Man.
You know, Blaze the Black Spider-Man. Falcon as Captain America was accepted.
Yeah, he still is.
And he still is.
His own
it was
Captain
accepted,
America.
You know? Granted, there was a history of that because, you know, he was quote-unquote the sidekick of Steve Rogers. And he was like, besides Bucky, he was the next in line. It was a natural progression. But it's like, we have a black Captain America now. You know? So it's like, you need to know your audience. So now, the country's changing, you know? And I'm speaking for the country. I'm like, what is it? Minorities are going to become the majorities. What are they saying? About 2050, 2060, around that time. You know, they're probably saying that from way back when. Maybe like 30, 40, 50 years ago. But now, it's almost here. You know, we're in 2017.
So who would have thought?
In our lifetime, we're going to become the majority. In our lifetime.
For those of you who don't know, it is projected that within the next, what was it?
Let's say 40 years. The next 40.
I was going to go 60. Let's go 50 for...
Let's go 50 in the middle. Let's go the next 50 years.
In the next 50 years, it's not a fucking mystery that a large portion of newborn babies are going to be of mixed descent. That it doesn't matter if it's Caucasian and black. It doesn't matter if it's Asian and Hispanic. It doesn't matter if it's French and French. I mean, I guess that's still mixed.
That's still a minority in this country.
Technically. That's going to be the case. I mean, as much as Richard Spencer refuses to understand it, that's kind of going to be the world, my guy. You're not going to stop people from fucking, last I checked, unless you can get rid of us. So you do have to cater to an audience that is mixed. Mm-hmm. It's just the fact of it. I mean, we have movies based on the first mixed marriage that led to Loving, that are hitting the screen and, you know, getting acclaim because they're important issues, because that's the world now.
Yep.
So at least in my opinion, what I'm gonna say, my one piece for Marvel is definitely try to focus on the world of 10 years from now as opposed to the world of 30 years ago.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Don't pull like you know, like I have an issue, and I stated this before, whether it hits the airways prior, but I'll say it again. I have an issue with like the Fantastic Four movie. Don't take existing characters and make them black, Hispanic, whatever. No, those characters are, you know, they have history. You know, the history is acknowledged. There's good stories behind it. We know what those characters are. But it's like, just like the world evolves, just like the country evolves, just like families evolve those characters. Pass it on. Either pass on the mantle of Cap or Iron Man or Hulk. Now we have an Asian Hulk. Pass it on, or do it in a way. And it's, good storytelling will make any new character, regardless of race, accepted and relevant. It just comes down to good storytelling.
I agree, and we talked about this, I think, in our last podcast, and I kind of I gave some pushback mainly because first off, before I even fucking continue, where are these shots? What the fuck happened there?
Right.
While you pour them, I'm gonna give my 2 cents. All right, we're gonna call this the B-Don Minute, formerly known as the Izaku Minute. He's not here. We're gonna make it happen. We discussed this. Is that I actually disagree with your statement, and I'm actually furious at the fact that you think it's kind of BS for someone to take a pre-existing character and change their race. I think it fucks with the status quo. I think by taking Peter Parker and making him a black Peter Parker says even more than using Miles Morales. Mainly because if you doing this in a sense of like mass media, let's do a Peter Parker reboot franchise for Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Instead of him being Caucasian, we're going to make him African American. First off, Parker...
Instead of making him from Forest Hills, you make it from Jamaica?
Yeah. Look, the last name, think about it. His last name, Parker, it could work for an African-American.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah.
Make him Peter Parker, African descent, and it'll still have a good positive image. The issue is you need to do it right. You can't just say, I'm Black Peter Parker. I'm going to go to the corner store. I'm going to buy me a slice of pizza. I'm going to buy me a lasagna. I'm going to say hi to my Aunt May. I'm going to go to Brooklyn. And I'm going to just talk to my boys about the new Frank Sinatra album. That's different, you see, because it's not a matter of just, changing their race. It's a matter of accommodating them for that race.
This is my problem. And, I will hope that Marvel, DC, whoever, they decide to go that route, if they are going to change the race or the ethnicity, however you want to label it, of their characters to something different, they are going to come up, they are going to do something. They're going to, everything's going to be different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because people of that race, of that ethnicity could relate.
Yeah.
But my problem, excuse me. My problem is that because it's the same name, it's going to be the same. So let's say for your example, right, we do have an African American Spider-Man, and instead of being from Forest Hills, he's from Jamaica, blah, blah, blah. He's still going to go into Manhattan. And he's still going to be a photographer for the Daily Bugle. I'm like, that's an old and outdated occupation. You see,
but I get this. But look, by doing that, by taking Peter Parker, we're going off the example that doesn't exist clearly, but we take Peter Parker and you keep him as a photojournalist.
Okay.
You keep him working under Jonah Jameson.
But it will have to be, if you want to make it modern, it will have to be for like I want Huffington Post.
I disagree.
Really?
I disagree.
Okay.
You know why?
Okay.
Think about this.
Okay.
Think about this. In the spectrum of careers that are out there for anyone, it is hard for minorities to get into certain positions. It's hard. It's hard to work in publishing if you're of the darker skin tone. It really is. I mean, there's multiple exceptions, but by taking Peter Parker and making him a great photojournalist for the Daily Bugle, one of the biggest newspapers. You know how great that is for our people. You know how positive it's Sotomayor in court. She's doing a job that not many Hispanic women do in court.
But her name is different than the previous judges.
It is. But you know what? If Peter Parker was a Dominican Peter Parker working in the Daily Bugle, how great does that make you feel?
And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I get it. But I don't know. To me, I think it would be much more greaher. My vocabulary is
much more greater.
My vocabulary is lacking right now because Aqua's starting to hit me. But I think it'll be better. Better word. I think it'll be better. Because, no pun intended. Because, there's a progression of the story. Because look at me, like I said, Peter Parker started, even though in terms of the continuity of Marvel, Peter Parker was probably born like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. In reality, he was created, 30, 40 years ago. Right? But I think that fine. Now, and this is why I like the Miles Morales character, and I think a lot of people do, because he was adopted into the mainstream Marvel universe because there was a progression. It was okay, this is the new Spider-Man.
Even to the point where he's popping up in the game.
And possibly in the movie. Exactly.
So I know a slight spoiler for that, but I ain't gonna share.
There ain't no spoiler. The movie ain't come out yet.
Hey,
ain't no spoiler.
It's a rumor. What was it that Entertainment Weekly used to do? They would have specific noise. If there were a moment in life where I could have the Entertainment Weekly noise, it would happen right now.
We're not paying for that.
But I do know some information as to specifics relating to some sort of diversity in the Spider-Man movie. At this point, by the time this gets posted, the movie will come out.
Yeah.
Just kidding, but still, I guarantee you I know. And I'm sorry to cut you off, but in all fairness, I think better some relevance than none. If the option was we're gonna make a fucking Dominican Captain America who's gonna he's gonna eat his mango and his queso, tres golpes. He's gonna go in and he's gonna, talk in Spanish all the time because he can.
Spanish is the second most talked language in the country.
I would love give him a different name, make him a whole new character. I would love it. Yeah. But in my opinion, the reason why I think that it would also be important to keep names is because if the first option of having a new character didn't exist, it would at least be good to see that diversity happen. Mm-hmm. For example, The Question. The Question is one of the few Dominican characters out there. And she is something Montoya. I forgot what her name was. But she's Dominican. Mm-hmm. And yeah, her character, The Question, is originally white. A white dude.
We're talking about Question from DC?
Yeah. Okay. The Question is a white dude.
Yeah.
They created a whole new character. Dominican, Montoya. She still has the Question name. Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Miles Morales. They're still under the moniker of that hero. And I get it. But you know what? If they were to tell me tomorrow that they're making a new hero that has similar powers to the Hulk. Wasn't called the Hulk, but was like Puerto Rican. Mm-hmm. And his name was like, let's say his name was the Strong Man, I guess. Sure. Marvel hit me up for that. El Fuerte. I think that saying that he's Bruce Banner of Chicano descent with the name the Hulk would pull in more people than El Gigante, El Fuerte.
And I'm with you, but I get that. And the whole, see, the Question character is Dominican. She has a completely different name.
Yeah, she does.
And that's my point. Like I said, I'm okay with. I would prefer them doing complete original, but I'm okay with someone taking up the mantle of whatever character. My problem is when you take an existing character and then you make them a different.
It's appropriating.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. That's what I think it is. I think that's the lazy way.
I agree. It is most certainly lazy.
It's like Alex Cho. I got no problem with Alex Cho. Yeah, but cool. You know what I'm saying? Miles Morales. He's still Spider-Man, but he is Miles Morales. He has his own identity. He's not Peter Parker.
Think in the sense of let's. It's a really bad comparison. But Spider-Gwen.
Okay.
Spider-Gwen. You're taking Gwen Stacy. You're turning it to Spider-Man. Yep. Spider-Man. Spider-Woman.
Yep.
That's, they're doing the same. They took a pre-existing character. They turned her into the hero of her story, even though it was based off a counterpart. But when you compare Spider-Gwen to America Ferrera, and America Ferrera is the girl from that fucking Ugly Betty show, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But America, the female lesbian hero in Marvel, she's a new character that was created. Yeah. She's Latina, Latinx. She doesn't have as much pull as Spider-Gwen has. Spider-Gwen is an existing character, same name, with a twist. America is a character that is transgressive based on her sexuality, based on her culture, and based on the fact that she is a woman taking control in comic books. And still doesn't have as much pull.
And you see, and this is where my wrestling fan comes into play, and I'm talking, and this is the benefit the comic book industry has over the wrestling industry. Their characters don't get old. Wrestlers do. So wrestlers, the wrestling industry, the writers, the producers, WWE, Vince, whoever's in charge, they have to make new stars. They have to push new stars. They have to write good storytelling.
Because that's the future.
And because Hulk Hogan can't wrestle when he's 60.
I mean,
Stone Cold can't wrestle when he's 45. The Rock's in movies. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is not the problem. Excuse my language. And this is the issue with comic books, is that the characters don't get old.
They can't get old.
They can't get old, and it's all about money. And I get that. So they have the option to not make new characters because they don't have to make the characters old. But don't make them old. But be like, okay, and I'm not saying go sidekick route, because DC did that and it was a hit or miss. Yeah. Some sidekicks are still relevant, some are not. But it's like
Tim Drake.
Yeah. So it's like, and everything's about storytelling. Make sure it makes sense. Don't pass on the mantle to somebody else just because, like, oh, we need a black Doctor Strange.
We need the black guy to just be in Batman for once.
Yeah, I'm saying make sure it makes, and I think DC did that with what's his name? Batwing.
Batwing.
Was it Batwing? It was the African guy. Then it became Lucius's son.
I think it was.
Batwing. Yeah, and that made sense.
Yeah, and that's the thing is what we have here is it's the same argument You're a little more left, I'm a little more right.
Okay.
Fucking back to politics, of course.
But
everything's because I agree, that would be awesome. And I think it's awesome. I think making Blue Beetle into Jaime Reyes. Yes. Great move, because Ted Cord was fucking irrelevant even as a white guy. He was irrelevant. And people didn't really care.
Nova.
Yeah.
Same thing.
It's
he has his own
smart.
identity.
His own identity. Yeah. They happen to have the same thing, but even now, like, looking at Blue Beetle, he's more successful now than he was back then.
Because due to storytelling and marketing. He was on Young Justice. So it's like, when it's like kids, now I'm saying kids, but, people younger than us, because we're in our mid to late 20s, people younger than us, when they think of Blue Beetle, they think of
Jaime.
Yes, they don't think of the original, because you have marketing, you have storytelling, and this is what I want. I want marketing and I want storytelling, to push these new characters. I think, worst case scenario, push new characters, push new mantles of existing characters. If it fails, you could always go back where you came from. You could always go back where you came from. Try new things. If it fails, go back.
That's what Valiant. I mean, I guess it's a perk of being a company that's not DC, not Marvel, where you're like constantly the first face in the limelight.
Yeah.
But companies like Valiant can get away with creating a character that is not of like model weight, like Faith.
Yeah.
She's not a model. Mm-hmm. She's Faith. Mm. She's a real character. They can get away with doing that. Talking about the Runaways and how they're just a diverse group of people with, whether it comes to drug addiction or a lesbian relationship, or whether they're struggle with weight. They focus on important issues, and it's something that it is harder. For the big three to do.
It is.
The big two to do.
I understand it is because they're under they're under a microscope, and I'm pretty sure they're a public traded company, so they got stock and all this stuff, so they have to piece their stock codes. I get it, it's a business. But I'm like, try something new. If it fails, go back. You will make your money back. Just go back.
Before we continue, we're gonna take this moment to take these 2 shots, of which we were supposed to take during our break. The moment we take these, I'm giving us a 15-minute timer. 15 minutes, we're done. We're going to close out finishing statements. We're going to answer some more questions about Secret Empire, and we're going to close it out there.
In 15 seconds?
15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Seconds,
okay. Well, no, all right, you said minutes. My bad. I was like, damn, that's going to be a quick closer.
We're going to say 2 words and be done.
Yeah.
So I'm going to count down for the shots, and we're going to take them.
This is probably a bad idea.
This is an extremely bad idea, considering I don't even fucking know how to say the first 4 letters of the alphabet.
That's all right.
All right, so 3, 2, 1. The shots are going in. Oh, fuck my life.
That was bad.
That was really bad.
Yep.
Oh. All right. Ooh.
Yeah, that was bad. Okay.
Starting question for this next closing off segment. Holy shit. The hookah's dead. It's dead.
Yeah, it's dead.
Been dead. The hookah's dead. I'm dead. The cat's walking around. Oh, all right. I still got beer left, too. I got to finish before the sun.
We got 15 minutes.
15 minutes, all right.
If not, we'll split this episode.
It's part 2.
Yeah, exactly.
On the floor and just making moaning noises.
Yeah, Captain America.
Okay. Captain America, Secret Empire. Okay. My question to you is, do you think that this will be the last time that Marvel will stretch to turn one of their starring characters into a villain based on the negative response that they've gotten for Captain America becoming the bad boy of Marvel Universe?
No.
Why? Why do you think it will not be the end?
I don't know the financial numbers, but obviously we could look it up with Google. Everything's on Google and Yahoo Finance and all that stuff. But possibly they are losing a little money now, but in terms of their comic books. But now, because of the movies, the comics are second. They're secondary. Comic book companies, Marvel, DC, all their money comes from the movies now. So I think they could take calculated risks like this, knowing that, okay, we could change this character in the comic books, but in the movie, who portray him like normal. So it's like, hey, we may lose like 10 million, 20 million based on comic book sales, but hey, what's going on here? We got Infinity War coming out with Steve Rogers and Chris Evans. That movie is guaranteed to at least make...
There's a white guy there.
You know, at least make 500 million in the United States alone. And throughout the world, possibly 2 billion. So, no, I don't think so. Because their financial structure has shifted. So I think this allows them to take much more risk within the comic books.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. And I'm going to say that I think that this is going to lead Marvel and other companies even to slow down the transition as much.
Okay.
Not entirely, close it out and stop producing, diverse characters, but just thinking of Marvel Legacy alone, in my opinion, I don't know what the fuck happened in the Marvel office. I don't know what Kevin Feige fucking said to fucking Nick Spencer, because they're buddies. Clearly, they work in the same department. I don't know what the heads of Marvel said to their writers, said to their artists. But I think that based on all the backlash, based on the Marvel executives saying that diversity is killing the game, I think they're going to take a step back. And I think that's where Marvel Legacy came from. Look, DC has been changing the game how much in the past 10 years alone, with Rebirth, with New 52. They've been doing
They've taken a lot of risks, but
often.
But the storytelling's been there for the most part. So.
They've been shifting it back, but they've also been making it more diverse and, changing the game so
think about it this way.
More accessible.
Batman Inc. For the one character that's supposed to be a loner, it's no longer... I'm not sure if it's canon, but it no longer exists because of the whole shifting.
It is based off of the Damian Wayne.
That's true.
But
think about it. Batman, who's always been a loner, he created his own team of Batmen around the world.
It's still... Batman, his sidekicks, they're all still canon, and
all these Batmen are of different countries, different races.
Damian Wayne died in Batman Incorporated,
and that was a whole big thing. He resurrected,
and he
created the Hellbat armor to fight Darkseid.
Guess what? Yeah, he's still alive,
and
his whole having superpowers for like a good bit.
Yeah,
still canon.
This is the storytelling for the most part has been good, if not decent enough, to continue that.
So that's why I think that Marvel right now, in their minds, they're like, we had too many characters that would just reached a little too far. They were either too diverse or just the audience wasn't quite there. So they're gonna focus on the core heroes for a bit. I think they're gonna take this next year after Secret Empire, and they're gonna focus on making Captain America great again, making Thor great again, making the Hulk great again. And I think, yes, in my eyes, that's kind of a bad move, because I do think that by focusing on Asian Hulk, by focusing on female Thor, by focusing on Miles Morales, they're gaining a lot more in the long run.
Yes.
But
I agree.
I think that they're taking a step back because they want to get back to their roots. Like... your phone. Why is your watch talking to me?
That was me. My bad.
I think by taking a step back and focusing on the core, Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Thor, and building a beautiful foundation on that, starting at issue 1 of Iron Man and then keeping that going straight, I think that this is their way of trying to make amends for the false diversity that's happened.
Yes.
I think that starting over with Spider-Man and then making him learn about Miles Morales sooner and making Miles an important part of his team, making Spider-Man have a sidekick off the bat weeks in.
Yeah.
Because make Peter a great hero and then give him a sidekick that he's constantly playing with. It's when you think Batman, you think Robin. Yeah. Batman has Robin.
That's true.
I think their way of taking a step back and not focusing on the diversity just yet, in a year, it's going to be beautiful. Yep. They're going to focus on so many new heroes, so much diversity, and it's going to be weaved in much better. Because I think this whole time, Marvel's just been playing catch-up. They had Ultimates going on, and Ultimates was like a key factor in diversity.
Yeah.
When you have Colossus sleeping with dudes and having a great time. Yeah.
But the most successful thing was Miles Morales. That's they brought him over into the main 616.
Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't the main storyline. He was a side part that swooped in. Yeah. So by focusing on the key characters and taking a step back from the diversity to build and then bring that back.
As long as this one step back leads to 2 steps forward,
then I'm all for it. I think that'll be a great way of doing this. Yeah. So we've got a few more minutes. I'm gonna say we've got 7 minutes. Okay. So going on from that, what do you think they're gonna do in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, to up this diversity game? And do you think the Secret Empire will have a sneak in within that?
No, but I do think, and when we're talking about the MCU, I think Steve Rogers is gonna die because Chris Evans' contract is up. I think I'm not sure what's gonna happen to Tony Stark, RDJ. Maybe he'll die. Maybe we just retire.
So that's a lot of.
It's a lot, but again, it's business. His contract. I mean, his contract's been up. He's just He's been working Yeah. But I do think the next Avengers, like we're talking about Avengers 5, 6, 7, if they reach that far, it's gonna look way different. I hope it's gonna be led by like Black Panther, or maybe not because I don't know maybe it's not his character, but maybe Falcon takes up Cap,
That's been the plan for quite some time.
So you might have like the Avengers led by Falcon, a black guy.
There have been rumors.
Then you have like Spider-Man, War Machine taking up not the mantle of Iron Man, but he takes the place of Iron Man because War Machine in the movies, he hasn't been really a full member of the Avengers. Maybe now he'll move up.
I don't quite see Don Cheadle. I love Don Cheadle as an actor, but I don't see him as like filling in the space that is Robert Downey Jr. And not just because he's a black man. Obviously, black men can fill any space. Yeah. Wink, wink.
That's what she said.
But I think James Gunn, director of Guardians of the Galaxy, and my number one follow on Instagram, he's the one who said that like the next phase of Guardians of the Galaxy after Guardians 3 looks significantly different than what we have now. I mean, it's possible that we won't have Star-Lord. We won't have
Chris God, can you imagine we have a cosmic Spider-Man?
Look, if he wants to go all old school Guardians, because I don't know if he'll direct. I know that he was a little adamant that like him directing Guardians 3 was kind of like a gift from God because he was surprised that it was offered to him. Yeah. But if they want to go whole new director, original Guardians team, you bring out Martin X, you bring out Soldier 47, I believe is his name.
I think so. Yes.
You bring out the old team that was shown at the end of Guardians 2. Sorry, spoilers. You bring them back and just have them as the Guardians team. That would be great. I would love that because I would think we got 2, possibly 3 great Guardians movies. Yeah. 10 out of 10, my favorite movies in Marvel. I think I would be happy with that. Yeah. I would be proud of that. Yeah. So to move on from that and focus on a more diverse group of characters, older group of characters, veterans that are leading the charge as the original Guardians, that'd be fucking awesome. Yeah. It would just and the old Guardians team has like a substantially different set of powers. Yeah, so that would be awesome. I mean, Miley Cyrus was the voice of one of the characters, which was as wild as I thought it was. For 1 second on the screen in the after credits, that's awesome. So I think it'll be the right move for Marvel to filter out the old generation of actors and get RDJ is one of my favorite actors in the Marvel movies, but to see him go would be great. It was like Hugh Jackman leaving Wolverine. It was very bittersweet for me because I grew up on watching him on the screen as one of my favorite characters. Yeah, and to watch him, fade into the mist and retire the character. Mm-hmm. It was one of the best movies I've ever watched. Logan was one of the best comic book movies I've ever watched. So to see that transition, I think, would be beneficial to not just diversity, but like comic fans everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So that was my one sentence.
That's one of the beauties about comics. I mean, teams are always changing. And the movies have to represent that.
Yeah. Jean Grey, not Jean Grey, Kitty Pryde may be leading the X-Men now, but imagine who's going to be leading it in 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
probably Professor X again. But,
well, I mean, based on because they're starting all over again, so we got to give them at least 10 years. Yeah. But
But I think that's good.
Hey, no, 10, 15 years, they might bring back Hugh Jackman, and Old Man Logan might be running the X-Men.
I will literally jizz harder than I've ever jizzed to anything, and trust me, I've jizzed a lot in the past 20 years. I think. The 20 years
sounds like damn.
Yeah, that sounds a bit.
That's a bit much.
That's too much.
It's a bit much.
But I think we're going to close it out here. I think we had a good conversation about this.
I agree.
We're going to end with some shout-outs.
Okay.
And before we get to that, we'll give like a small closing statement. Give a sentence of one thing you want to close out with on this whole conversation we've had.
Marvel, don't fuck this up with the whole Secret Empire. Stick with it. Stick the landing. That's what I said. Stick the landing.
Stick the landing. It's a great response. Shit, how do I follow that? I'm gonna have to agree on that. I mean, Marvel, you have access to so many characters, a whole database of information. Just think about everyone, not just one race. Think about the collective of people that read your comics, and I think you're gonna do fine. I believe you can. So let's just see what you do. So we're going to move on to some shout-outs. Nico, if you like, I'll go first and you can close it out.
Sure.
I would like to shout out, first off, the team at Comicsverse for making this possible. Justin, thank you so much, Justin Alba, for loaning us some equipment that has helped us, start this great podcast, in our opinion, off. You helped us so much. You guided me so much in just the information I know just through conversations we've had. So thank you for that. Rachel, Andrew, Sam, Dennis, you guys are great. Comicsverse team has been keeping up. And shout outs to Nick Spencer for saying fuck it to all the people that have tried to come at you for this great story that you've been writing. And shout out to the big two, Marvel and DC, for giving us some great work that we can talk about.
Exactly.
And, even if it aggravates people.
Even if we hate it, we still talk about it.
We still talk about it. And kudos to you. And Nico, if you'd like to give us some shout outs.
I would say shout out to our, like I said earlier, our third who's not here right now is currently in LA. Shout out to Isaac. Izaku. And shout out to Roxy too, the reason why he's not here. Like I said, I hope you guys are having a great time, and hopefully eventually y'all both will hear this. That's it.
All right. That's all I got. Thank you for staying tuned and listening to Earth 718. We'll be here all week. As much as you want to listen, we're here to offer our opinions. And thanks again for listening. Shout out to all the fans. Anyone who's just been sitting here and just getting drunk with us. We appreciate it. Smoking hookah, smoking whatever. As long as you're having fun, we're having fun, and we're going to keep on producing stuff just for you guys. So thanks again, and we'll be back soon enough with a topic we will disclose hopefully soon.
Yep.
See you soon.